Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani here with you up until 11 o'clock. It's just you and me tonight, so call 412-575-2600. If you'd rather tweet, it's at KDPomp, as we have a very busy week ahead coming up. Who would have thought the Penguins just a couple of weeks ago would be in the position they're in? They've won 4 games in a row in regulation, including yesterday's thriller against Tampa 5-4. However, it took 2 other teams completely tanking for them to be in this position. Philadelphia, more than any other team, has lost 7 games in a row. They had a once healthy lead, a 9-point lead on the Penguins, but now that's gone, and they're tied with the Penguins with only 5 games left for each. And then there is Washington, which did get a point tonight against Ottawa, but they've been playing very bad hockey. And again, they've invited teams like the Penguins and the Islanders to jump everyone. The Islanders are playing good hockey. Right now, they are in the 3rd position in the Metro with 85 points. So it's New York 85. It's Detroit, which won tonight. They beat Buffalo. Big game for them at home. So they jumped over the Penguins. So the Penguins at this moment are not in it, but they're just a point removed from it. So Detroit has 84, and then it's the Penguins with 83, the Capitals with 83, the Flyers with 83. Sabres, this loss tonight pretty much killed them. But it's been a logjam of a lot of teams that have a lot of flaws, quite frankly, which is why this is going right down to the wire. But it lays in front of the Pittsburgh Penguins 5 games and a chance to get in when nobody thought they would just a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they didn't even think they would, which is one of the reasons why they parted with Jake Guentzel. But I can tell you that Michael Bunting has been really good for the Penguins with a different dimension to his game that I think they really needed. He had a 3-point game yesterday, including the game winner. And so this team now goes into Toronto. They face a very good Maple Leafs team. Earlier this year, they lost to them 7-0. I would expect that you're going to continue to ride Alex Nedeljkovic just because he's winning. He's doing a very good job. The team plays with a lot of confidence in front of him. But at some point over the next 5 games, you got to think that Tristan Jarry is going to get in there at some point. Mike Sullivan just does not like to sit a goalie down that long, especially heading into the postseason if they should get there. The question is, when do you play him, if at all? There are 5 games left. There are no back-to-back games. So that is a helpful thing for a guy like Nedeljkovic. But I'd like to hear what you have to say at 412-575-2600. It's Toronto tomorrow. Then they come home to play Detroit. That's a juicy matchup. 2 teams head-to-head Thursday night at PPG Paints Arena. And then after that, it's Boston, Nashville, and the final game of the year at the New York Islanders. And the Islanders got a shutout yesterday, so they're moving up, and so are the Penguins. We'll find out what happens. Should be a very intriguing week coming up. And they're getting good performances by a lot of rookies, too. And maybe because of injury, these guys wouldn't have gotten their shot. Now they're getting it, guys like Jack St. Ivany, as well as Ryan Shea and some other guys up front. And they're playing very well, quite frankly, and they should continue to play well, hopefully. And Ryan Grace has been out. When will he get back in there? We're going to talk about all these issues, by the way, and more tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. That's on after the late news, 11:35 on KDKA. As far as the Pirates are concerned, well, they came away with another series win. And this is what you like to see from the Pirates, taking on a good team like Baltimore. They lost the opener, but they came back and won yesterday in 11, and they won today in the bottom of the 9th inning. So they've had 3 walk-offs. They've had 3 extra inning wins. And the Pirates now are 8-2. It's the best record in all of baseball. But the question I ask you tonight at 412-575-2600, do you think this is sustainable? Last year it wasn't after a 20-8 start. I think this is different. I think this team has much better depth to it, experience to it, and I think because of it, you're going to see them last longer than they did 1 year ago. I thought a guy like Marco Gonzalez so far has been very good in 2 outings. Martin Perez has been very good in 2 outings. Jarrett Jones has been good in 2 outings. The guy who hasn't been good has been Mitch Keller so far, but you would expect that to change. He'll get another chance coming up in this series against Detroit, which starts tomorrow, 6:40 at PNC Park. In the meantime, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Caitlin Clark, final game. South Carolina wins that thing tomorrow. The NCAA men's Final Four in the championship game, which will be Purdue against UConn, and Purdue is an underdog in this one, and rightfully so, because quite frankly, the way UConn has been going, they've been beating everybody by double digits, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again tomorrow night. We will see in Glendale, Arizona. 412-575-2600. Call me. Keep me company until 11 o'clock right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. It's on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from MLB. Yes, the Pirates win again. They're 8-2. That's the best record in all of baseball. Detroit will come to town tomorrow, and I wonder about some of these issues with the Pirates. Bailey Falter pitched very well yesterday. 6 strong innings, only 1 hit, and that was debatable. Good to see him bounce back. You got all these lefties in the starting rotation, which is good. They're veterans. We'll see how long they last. Bailey Falter will give them one more outing at least before they have to worry about Paul Skeens, although I don't expect that to happen until sometime in May, and he's been really good. They're kind of working his pitch count in a direction that it taken some of the pressure on him early and the workload to be lessened early. He had 3 innings the first outing, 3 innings the second, but in 6 total work outings down there in AAA, Paul Skeens has 11 strikeouts, just 1 hit allowed in those 6 innings, no runs. So pretty good stuff by a guy who can put it up there at 100 miles an hour. So for the time being, no needs to panic about anything in their starting rotation. It's been better when I thought, especially when you consider the guy who's supposed to be the ace right now, Mitch Keller, hasn't been at his best. But I would expect that to change here in the coming outings. All right, let's get to the lines. I want to hear what you have to say about all these things, beginning with Chuck in Uniontown. Chuck's been on line 1 for a while, so Chuck, welcome in. Hello, Chuck.
So you think it's more likely that the Pirates can sustain what they're doing this year as opposed to last? And if you do you think that makes them a playoff contender or a playoff that they'll be enough to sustain this throughout the year to be a playoff contender or a playoff team? Mm-hmm. And do you think the Penguins have to run the table to get into the playoffs?
Chuck, I think when I say sustainable, I mean staying in the race instead of falling out of the race. That's sustainability. To me, I had them at 80 wins to start the season. I think that's still a relatively good number, which would be 4 more wins than last year after they improved by 14. I don't expect them to jump all the way to 90 or something of that nature. But I see improvement, and I see young arms, and I think they'll be closer. And I don't know what that means in terms of challenging, because it depends on how this division goes. The Cubs have looked better than I thought they have. They were beating up the Dodgers pretty good when I checked last on them, so we'll see. But I think it's going to be a better season than what we saw last year when they had a complete drop-off after that 20-8 start. As far as the Penguins, I say 4-1 would be probably the right number to get them in. I don't think they're going to win all 5 games. You know, they got some pretty good competition. As I say, you got Toronto, you got Boston, you got Nashville, and then 2 head-to-head games against 2 teams that are right there, both ahead of you in the standings. So it's theirs for the taking, but will they take it? That's going to be the question. Let's go out to Dave in Cecil Township. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I am fine. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
You mentioned depth, but I think the thing that impresses me this year with the Pirates is the balance. Years past, they'd have good batting and poor pitching. They'd have good pitching and poor batting. But now it seems to be even, and they're very, like you say, sustainable and very balanced this year.
Well, just look at their bullpen, which has been good, and they're missing 2 key pieces to it right now. Actually, 3. When you take Ryan Borecki, he's been put on the disabled list. They brought up Jose Hernandez again, and today it was Roansy Contreras and Jose Hernandez who came in and shut the door after that. So their bullpen has been good. If the starting pitching can get, like what Gonzalez did today, 6 good innings or more as time goes on, that's terrific. That'll make less wear and tear on the bullpen, keep them fresher. And I think that helps the Pirates. But, you know, they also have some really good performances like Connor Joe. He's been terrific, I think, considering what maybe expectations were for him. So far, we haven't seen a lot from Suwinski, McCutchen, or Henry Davis at the plate. Now, Henry Davis, I think, has been working on his defensive part of the game now that he is the everyday catcher. And I think he's looked perfectly comfortable back there. But his offense is suffering to a degree. I think that will change. I still look at him as a 25 home run guy eventually. McCutchen just hasn't been in a groove at all consistently. And Suwinski's just, I don't know, it looks like they have other people that they can move in and out. And maybe he won't get as many at-bats as you would have expected, especially since they've seen a whole bunch of left-hand pitching so far this season. Dave in Zelienople joins us right now on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
What's going on?
Good show. Hey. As far as Pirates' sustainability, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy the ride while we can, because it's great.
Yeah. I always say that, Dave, about people who watch sports. You know, there's no reason to get yourself down just because of what's happened in the past. I understand that taints you a little bit. It certainly has done that for a lot of us who follow sports. Sometimes the expectations are so low, you want higher expectations, but you also want meaningful games all the way through the season if you can get it. That's what you want as a fan, and that's what I want. I want to be entertained. I want to see good, and now all of a sudden hockey has come back to where it's going to be a very exciting week, where I think 2 weeks ago you may not have thought that, given where the Penguins were 9 points behind. You know, and it absolutely took two teams crashing ahead of them. If Philly had not gone 0-7, instead 3-4, whatever, the Penguins, regardless of all this winning, would not have been able to catch them, most likely. Same thing with Washington. They've kind of been stagnating at a certain number, and the Penguins have taken advantage of them, not moving on. These teams had a chance to bury the Penguins earlier in this season, and they didn't. That's because they're all flawed, like I said. I think there are a lot of teams here that are, you know, okay teams. Can they get on a roll and do something in the playoffs? I certainly hope the Penguins can. It would be fun to watch. But yeah, to your point, enjoy the ride all the time. That's what it's all about. Rich in Altoona is next up, right here on the Sports Call. Hey, Rich.
Hello, Bob. First, I want to say I hope to get to meet you and say hello next Saturday when you're here at our Sports Hall of Fame banquet. You're the MC.
Yeah, looking forward to that. We got Dr. J in town.
Yeah, it should be a good night.
Yeah.
Hope I get to meet you and say hello.
I hope so, too. Thanks, Rick.
And the Pirates, if they can stay healthy, you remember last year they started off great. O'Neal Cruz got hurt, lost him for the season, didn't have him. If he's healthy, they can go. And wouldn't it be ironic if the starting pitching was so good, Paul Skeens never made it up here, and I hope that doesn't happen.
No, he's going to make it up here, Rich. He will. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday as well. But, you know, you make way for a big guy like that. They know he's ready. This has nothing to do with him working on his game to develop, but he's ready. He's ready to be here. I think they may two things. Number one, you delay his start to help you down the road when it comes to his contract. But number two, you kind of take the workload away from him and just kind of ease him along here so that you can save his arm for later in the season. Because, you know, just look around the major leagues. You're going to see guys who are constantly having arm trouble and surgery. We saw that with Strider down in Atlanta, Bieber in Cleveland. You know, season-ending surgery for him, and that's what happens if you use it too much. So I think they want to be cautious about the investment. But right now, there's no need to have him up here. They're 8-2 and going pretty well. And if Falter has another good outing the next time, then again, you just ride it along until it's time. But when it is time, Paul Skeens is immediately to the top of the rotation. Let's go to Joe in Freeport. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hey, good evening, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling.
I'm very optimistic about the Pirates myself, as you are. But what you're saying about Keller makes you optimistic. Nothing about him is making me optimistic. If you go back to the second half of last year and the start of this year, what would make you optimistic about that?
Well, first of all, I'm not totally optimistic. I'm expecting it to be better. Number two, his velocity has been down. That's always a concern when I see that. I would expect him to be more in the 96-7 range when it comes to fastballs. So, you know, is there arm fatigue already? Is there something working there that we don't know about? I don't know. But he's not been good with some of his location. He's been hit hard in certain innings because of it. So I think he's better than that. I saw the first 3 months of last season, and I came away thinking the guy's got it figured out. I don't think you lose it. I think he had a rough second half. I think he knows how to get it done, and I would expect, you know, it's a long season. It's only 2 starts. I'm not going to overreact to it, just as I'm not going to overreact to Jared Jones' 2 good starts. I'm not expecting that every time out. He's going to get roughed up once in a while. There's no question about that. So we'll see what we get this week from him, and then we'll resume this conversation, I guess, week after week, the way it goes in sports. We're going to take a break here. This is Masters Week. I'd like to hear your prediction for what you like. We had a great story down at the Valero Texas Open today. We'll talk more about that and get your calls at 412-928-9370. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. In the meantime, we're talking Masters Week, and today, great story down there in San Antonio for the Valero Texas Open. Akshay Bhatia, he's a 22-year-old kid. a lefty who doesn't weigh a lot. He has a 28-inch waist, but man, he could bomb the ball off the tee 330, 340 yards. And he's been hot of late, and he went wire to wire at this event. He won today in a playoff after there was a big charge. Denny McCarthy came on with 8 birdies and 9 holes to move into a tie. They forced a sudden death on the first hole. McCarthy on his 3rd shot hit it in the water, chunked a shot, and but Tia made birdie and won, and that means he has an invitation earned to the Masters, the last one. There was one more to go potentially, and he got it after winning that event today. So it'll be interesting. He was at Augusta about 10 years ago for when they first started this national drive putt chip competition, and he was there 10 years ago, and now he comes back and earns his way in. So it's pretty amazing what he was able to do. My choice to win is going to probably be Brian Harmon. He's a lefty, a grinder. He's won a major before. He has the kind of game that I think does well at Augusta. Let's go to JR in Cooperstown. What's up, JR?
Well, you kind of already answered my question, but do you think Henry Davis will continue to be the everyday catcher?
I do. I really do. Even when Grandal gets back, they brought in Bart on a trade. He was once the 2nd overall pick. They needed a catcher. They have delays hurt too, so they need some help back there. But Henry Davis looks perfectly comfortable. Every time you watch him, I never come away thinking the guy's overmatched back there. Now, it's maybe because he's back there every single day, it's taking a toll on his offense a little bit. His bat needs to get going, but so does Sawinski's and Andrew McCutcheon's. And if that happens, then you got a team that can score some runs. I still believe they're going to score a lot more runs this year than they did last. So we'll see how it goes. But Pirates home tomorrow to Detroit. As that's going on, you're also going to have the Penguins in Toronto taking on the Maple Leafs, and that should be a wonderful game for sure. We expect Nedeljkovic to be in goal one more time. We'll see. Going against a high-powered Austin Matthews-led offense. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for joining me. Back here tomorrow at 10:35. And tonight, 11:35, #1 Cochran Sports Showdown over on KDKA. It's the 25th anniversary season. Join us for that, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 10:35. Have a great week.